live while I'm getting my day going, and I'm gonna mess around, do a little carving work here. So I just thought I'd pop on here. So I'm gonna start playing around here. If somebody pops in, hey, say something, whatever. Oh, there's a human. I see it. I always wonder where you folks come from. How did you even find me existing here on live? It's always baffling to me, but that's okay. I don't think what I want to do here. Hmm. Tricky, tricky, tricky. I want to go tree. What do I want to do here? Got to be something I can do here. Let's see. About a leaf. About how I do mountains. So I've been challenging myself when I do these little squares to just make it in a way that I drew it. Like I have lots of patterns and stuff, and I can put a pattern on there, and I can carve that pattern and follow the template. So I've been trying to figure out ways to do that. So I'll like draw something out on here, and then draw it within the lines and use that to trace it out. But I'm trying to think what I want to do here. I've done quite a few things where I drew it, but oh, what do we? Oh, hello, Daniel. I'm not even surprised you're here. We are not sure what we're making today. Um, I'm kind of getting my day going, and I was kind of thinking about taking a piece of leather and carving something. The challenge I give myself with these is I have to draw it. So for me, I have to draw it on here as opposed to taking what's called a craft aid or taking a template from one of the various leather books I have and drawing it on there and following the pattern and everything. So I try to, for lack of a better term, I'm freehanding everything. So I'm trying to think about what I want to try to do here. For anyone who's listening, the record is I cannot draw. Me and stick figures don't get along. Again, I did do my best to draw this stuff, but to me, it looks like the third grader got loose in art class and was given tools and said, go to town. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not sure where I want to go with this right now. Thinking about mountains. I'm thinking about ponds because when we did that other live feed, those were suggestions on the keychain. I'm also thinking about wood, like a tree. I think that's a possibility. Thinking about how I could go tree here and then do something over this way. I could go like water there with some reeds sticking up and then maybe a tree. That's possible. So, no firm answers yet. So, yeah, I'll tell you, I love doing the rifle sling stuff and the artwork for that stuff. And don't sell yourself short. I mean it when I say stick figures are hard for me. I'm not an artist. I do not draw well. I'm very impatient. Um, but I keep slowly learning and getting a little better at it. Um, I think some come with a lot of natural ability. I did not in that department, but that doesn't mean you can't solve it. Definitely a thing. Oop. Helps if I don't knock my camera over too. So, but yeah, don't sell yourself short. You can do it. I'm gonna step off camera just for a second here. I want to see something. All right, so you said rifle sling, so now I got to share. So this is a rifle sling, and I carved the little maple leaf up there. Did some basket weave on it. This is a template that came from Don Gonzalez, which maybe you follow leatherwork, you probably know who that is. I don't know Don personally by any stretch, but I do enjoy his videos. But yeah, so I mean, that's a maple leaf I carved a long time ago now, but I like it. And definitely any kind of outdoorsy theme on a sling is good in my opinion. That said, I default to basket weave and stuff like that. But it all works out good. I got to make a decision here. This is terrible. Really need to settle in here. But I think we'll just start and maybe see where it goes. How's that sound? So I think maybe if we, what if we just do this like the edge of a pond? So that would be the edge of our pond there. And I feel like if we maybe work a little tree in here, do that. This may come out terrible. We're going to find out. And I am already looking for my scrap piece of leather. There it is. Geez, 6 people watching. I always wonder who these 6 people are. I know Daniel's here. Daniel, my question to you is, have you started something or trying something leather-wise new? I know you said you had a couple things you were thinking about. If you're still watching, I'd be curious. All right. Let's see. Gotta remember how to do what I'm thinking of. So I'm going to cut in my pond there, I think. I'm going to try that. My fat head might be in the way. I apologize. All right, so there's our main tree. It's going to go up and disappear. Just made a watchman from a watch. Lined it with suede and freehand. All right, yeah, you're telling me you don't have some skills? That's some skills, man. I have done watch bands. They are teeny tiny. There's a lot of work to them. That's really cool. You lined it with suede. There's usually a lot of skiving work too, so that's really neat you did that. I've done, I don't know how many watch bands I've done. I've done a few over the years. They're not my favorite thing to do, to be honest. They're too tiny. Big paws. Big paws don't like tiny things. All right, now let's see here. Trying to think how I'm doing this tree. Trying really hard not to go over and get the books I have that explain how to do a tree because I want it to be what I do. But I'm thinking a pine tree of some type here, which is why I got this guy out. Let me just play around a little bit with this here. I'm going to use my push beveler here on my swivel knife to bevel that guy out a little bit. Just because I think that'll be fairly easy, and I'm feeling kind of lazy. And I'll do the same tree, or at least the bottom here. Yeah, I need my beveler. Go with good old, what is this, B200? Ooh, B203. Ooh. There's B200. Anybody's wondering, on camera, there's the difference there. See how there's two different sizes? But depending on where you're beveling, you need different sizes when you do it. Oh gosh, there's a tree in here. I see it. Think about grass, adding some grass down around, maybe here and up here. Gets a little tricky, but we'll figure that out. Sometimes I just press these along. Once I have a little bevel there. Okay. All right. Oh, down to one human. Bet you it's Daniel. Okay, let me think about how do I do this now. Not in love with this, got to be honest here, but we're working our way through it. Let's see. Been a long time since I tried to do this. Gosh, that looks more like a palm tree there. Let's see, how do I bring that out more? We need to come further out. Let's try that. I think I'm too uniform. I'm definitely coming out a little too uniform there as I come along. Okay, so I'm going to chicken out and do the upper part here real quick. Okay, we got that. Thinking about how I can, let's see here. Yeah, definitely as we go up here, this is just this part here. I'm thinking about here, and then we get smaller as we go up, but I'm also thinking like, do I somehow try to weave some branches out left and right? Yep, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm the polar opposite. We have mostly eastern hemlock trees here. Is I'd say our primary pine tree. There's others, but that's our primary one. Geez, 3 humans watching. All right. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of another tool I have, and it's not coming to me at the moment. But And I'm not going to resort to the bush. I'm not going over there. I'm not doing it. Also, I don't think this looks very pond-like at the moment. I'm trying to think how we're going to... The tricky... And this is where I have no art background. I know that this is up, this part, and this is flat, like this, right? So, like, here's your trees and your rolling field going away from the pond. But how to take this 2D surface and mimic that is the tricky part to me. Let's see here. I wonder if I just... think about ways with my swivel knife I can mess that tree up, so to speak. Not mess it up, but... I almost feel like I got to give some depth back in here, like press that down a little more as I work up a way, maybe. That's possible. That's an interesting thought. 9 humans? Wow, come on, 9 people? Someone else needs to talk, people. Ask me a question, do something. Tell me I'm crazy. I'm good with that. Right. I'm looking over yonder is all my stamps, so I'm looking that over and trying to figure out where I'm going here. Also thinking about, like, if I bring a couple little reeds up here maybe, or just some long grass. Well, hello there, Maverick. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just doing some leather carving, kind of getting my day going here in the shop. I do have some projects to attend to that need attention, like I've been working on some straight razors, but right now I just needed to focus on something and play around, so giving myself a little challenge here and trying to draw this all out myself. That's an example I did before. This is an owl. It's kind of crazy eyes owl, but but I draw it myself. I'm trying not to use anybody else's pattern and just figure it out myself as I go along. So that's what we're attempting. So, but thanks for chiming in. If you got any leather questions, by all means, ask me. I'll do my best to answer them. Right now, I'm trying to think how I can make this look right. With the tree. So I'm playing around with my stamps on a piece of scrap. Actually, Daniel, it's the opposite. So I started to make knives. This is back in about 2004, I'd say, somewhere in there, maybe 2003, definitely 2004. I had purchased a really small knife at a gun show or a knife show or an outdoor show, or I don't know, something like that. One of those things you go to in the middle of winter because you got to get out of the house. And I used to just open the mail with it long before I had kids running around and stuff. And so I was looking at it one day and thought, how do you do this? How does one make a knife? What's the process? And at that time, I had very minimal tools. So I kind of started to look at that and figure out how you do that. And before long, I'm out in the shop. And I got a piece of steel, and it was not a heat-treatable steel, but I didn't know that. And I made a knife. So once I figured out that was wrong, I learned some more, went on some internet forums. I think I bought a book that might have come later, and made a functional knife. And then I made another, and then I realized I needed a sheath. So at the time, I actually found 2 guys that did leather work for enjoyment, and they made sheaths for me really cheap. And like most things, life happens. I ended up moving away from that area because of jobs, and I found myself without sheath makers nearby. So I bought some hand tools, and I started out with what's called an overstitch wheel, and I bought a pack of needles, and I bought an edge beveler. Didn't know at the time that there was multiple sizes of edge bevelers. Um, and I bought some crappy leather, and I built myself my first sheath. I wet molded it and worked my way around it, and it worked out great. So, doing well. Too busy to stay in chat. Definitely going to watch the live over for the learning experience when I have a chance. Hey, sounds great. Hope you're doing a lot of cool stuff there at KIV, and thanks for checking in. So then that kind of grew into me doing the sheath work for my knives, and then here and there someone would ask me to do something else in leather, so I would do that, and then uh, I had an opportunity to teach at a summer camp, and I ended up doing that for 6 summers. This would have been between like 2014 and 2019, somewhere in there, and that's really where I kind of started to do more leather work. I bought a shop out in 2014 for the machines and really started to expand while I was doing leather. So it's been started out as a slow process and then kind of jumped into a big one for a while. So hopefully that answers your question there, Daniel. All right, I think I'm just going to go for this. Try to make this look tree-like and see what happens. I don't really know what I'm doing, but that's okay. So let's just, we're going to try. I feel like I'm not deep enough. I also may be using this stamp completely wrong, but that's okay. We're going to give it a shot. What I do notice is, it's one thing I want to point out. I don't know how well you guys can see this. I'm going to try to. This side, the stamp is different than this side. These are designed to be a left and right, but the sharpness and crispness of this side is more than this side, so they look completely different to me. But maybe it's just my eye. All right, let's work through the other side here. Trying to vary this some. I know you guys can't see it because my hand is in the way. Kind of work this inside a little. Other side here. So not horrid. I think it's all right. It's okay. I can live with it. It's okay. And we're going to work our way up here. So I'm going to, this I was using the full stamp all the way down. Up here I'm going to tip it a little bit because I don't want this to be going out as far. As I did down below. Because obviously as we go up, it gets a little smaller. So again, I'm just kind of tipping the stamp back towards the tree. Each stamp's a little different when you do that, so you got to watch how far you tip out. You'll notice this side here is a little further out than this side, which is okay. Trees are not uniform in my opinion. I'm just going to try to work a little more up top here if I can. So I'm trying to flow it and bend it a little bit. I'm making it like there's branches missing and so on. So that's what I'm trying to make work a little bit here. Obviously, the top of our tree is way up here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it's off-site. So now I want to work a little bark into this guy. Try to make it look more tree-like. This is just a pin vise, which actually has a sewing needle in it. When I've got small things like this whole thing is only, what is this? About 3.5 by 2.5, and I've already cut out a border there, so really it's 3 by, call it 2, right? So it's a small space. So we're trying to get a lot of detail work in a small space. So I can't use, say, this to put those marks in the tree, or it's not going to look right. So I'm going to use something much smaller. I've found that this is literally just a sewing needle that works pretty well. So I'm going to try to work some bark in there. Make it look like bark anyway. So there's a start. You can see I'm trying to make it look tree-like, if you will. And again, if anybody who's watching has questions, just shoot it in the box there. I'll try to keep an eye to it and give you answers when I can. I talk sometimes about casing your leather. That's wetting it, for lack of a better term. That is always tricky. If you're too wet, it gets mushy and doesn't take your stamping well or your carving work. If you're not wet enough, it won't work well. So it's always a tricky event. I'm feeling in pretty good shape on this one at the moment, but so I'm just adding some little, trying to think like a tree. That seems crazy, right? I'm thinking like a tree. What does that tree look like? How does the bark look when I'm walking around the woods? And trying to think my way through how a tree would look if I was looking at it. So I don't know if I'm succeeding, but geez, Daniel, there is a lot of books out there. Kind of the gold standard, I think most people would say, are the Al Stolman books if you're looking for stamping, carving, things like that. I have a lot of those. I've referenced them a lot, especially if you're doing work like this. They will walk you through how to make a tree, how to make a horse, how to do all kinds of stuff like that. I have Lisa Sorrell's book, which is more about boot making, but that has to do with inlays and overlays. I think that's a tremendous book. I don't know Lisa Sorrell personally, but she does some absolutely stunning, gorgeous stuff out there. I think that's a phenomenal book if you want to learn more about how to do inlays and overlays. So that's a good one. I'm going to walk over my bookshelf here. There's another one I'm thinking of that's escaping my mind. In fact, I'll grab a couple and throw them on camera. Give me 1 second, folks. 8 people. Come on, 8 people. I got to stop hitting the tripod. Nobody mind the tripod hit. Again, I have no connection directly to any of these folks, but these are books I have that I've found useful. I have the Leatherwork Manual by Stolen Pat Wilson from Hanover. I believe that's still available. Candy has a lot of these books. So I'd say a lot of books have affected me. Nigel Armitage, I believe he's out of the UK, has this beautiful book. All different projects, shows you how to hand stitch, how to do things, great detail, great pictures, lays it all out. I like that book. I've learned from it. Plus, I think it's a beautiful book and an opportunity to, of course, support another leatherwork. But he goes through different projects and do them. So I like that one. Again, Nigel, I think it's Armitage. He also has some great YouTube channels out there. If you want to learn how to do inlay or overlay, I had this book recommended to me, Lisa Sorrell, who's a bootmaker. Again, just a great book. To me, well worth the price, but talks about the techniques, how to sew, how to do these overlays and inlays, which if you're into that, that's a good book. This book, I think, is where a lot of us start. The basic leatherwork manual here. This is old. I think, let me look here. I believe it's Tandy still. You can get these from Tandy or you can find them on eBay, whatever. Copyright 1969 over here. But it talks about the basics of how you edge, how you stitch, folding over parts, gluing. It gives you some patterns, like that's a wallet pattern. So a lot of people start here. So those are the three books I would say probably affected me a lot. Definitely the Leatherwork Manual. I still, at times, will open one of those and remind myself how to do a technique or a thing, even though I've done this for a while. Hope that helps. That's it. I have about a million books over here. And, a lot of the candy stuff. There's, there's a book called ABC for figure carving. If you want to learn how to do that. Craft tool tech tips. All of these are so yeah. I hope that helped. I don't know. But, all right, let's go back to my tree here. Good. Maybe add some small bushes between the lake. Yes, definitely. I want to add some grass, bushes, something, or maybe a tree line in the back here, like it's off in a distance. So I'm thinking about that right now. I was really good, I'd be adding ducks on the pond, right? But I would say also, as far as helping, there is trying to think, Nigel Armitage on YouTube. Don Gonzalez has a lot of good stuff on YouTube. Don also has, you can buy patterns from him, and he'll, like, if you don't want to cut your own sling out, I think he sells sling blanks and other things on his website. Again, I don't know Don. I don't work for Don. I'm not being paid by anyone to say this stuff. These are just things I've noticed. There's plenty of other companies out there. Leather Maker Supply has a lot of neat stuff, patterns and different things. So, trying to think, there's another, it'd be Leotis Leather, I think, has a lot of good YouTube videos. I don't know if they're still active, but you can find those. So, they're out there. All right, let's see here. I'm going to try not to hit my tripod again. The tree I'm pretty good with at the moment. I think we're winning that. I'm going to, this is a modeling spoon here. So it's a little hard to see on camera, I think, but I'm kind of smoothing this down to bring the tree up more, because I don't like how much this is up in line with the tree. So to give that a little more depth, I'm going to just use my modeling spoon and press that down a little more. Kind of make that tree hopefully pop up just a little more there. You're literally molding the leather, so to speak. And this is all very, what's the word I want? I guess eye of the beholder stuff. This is something I struggle with. I don't know how well you can see it on camera. Let me see if I can. If you look here, I can still see this cut line, which has to do with making sure I've got it hit firm enough when I bevel it down, but it's also the right dampness to keep that down where it goes. I may have been a little deep there, I'm not sure, but I don't like that where you can see the cut line. I try to avoid that when I can. So same thing, I'm just kind of smoothing this out on the top, trying to make this look a little more, I don't know if 3D is the word I want, but maybe. Definitely just trying to give this a little more definition by pushing that leather down a little bit. No one should take what I'm saying as gospel, because every day I'm just still learning. Someday I really hope I can take some classes, maybe find my way out to some of the leather shows, because we don't really have any here on the east side of the coast, east side of the United States. So most of them are out west. All right, so we got that guy. Now I want to see, Let me see here. 3 humans on there. Again, if anybody's listening or you're wondering what's going on, I'm just trying to do a free form design here, kind of get my day going. So I thought I'd pop on live while I'm playing with this. Anybody wants to give me a couple $1,000,000 for this? I'm available. It's all yours. Let's see here. Let me try. Gonna think about a further back tree line is what I'm thinking of right now. We're gonna maybe see what's possible with that. Again, I'm using some scrap I had laying around here. I like to practice on the scrap or see a design before I, go wholeheartedly into town with it. So I think what else I've done from a learning standpoint. Um, Definitely a lot of YouTube. Definitely a lot of trial and error. Sheath work, I've probably mentioned before. Paul Long has a video series out there. I think it's on Crawford Knives. It's a wonderful series. There's a bunch of other tutorials about knife making and different things on there too. You can buy the video series. You used to be able to get it on like DVD. I think I bought the digital copy, which you can just log in and access. They were a phenomenal help too. A lot of techniques in there that apply to other things, not just sheath work. That's the thing about leatherwork. So much applies. I mean, to other stuff. I mean, if you take an edge beveler here, I'm going to edge bevel around this quick, but edge beveling applies to lots of stuff. Pretty much everything you do, you want to run a nice edge around it. It's one of my fun things to do when you have a new leather worker. You're like, look, this is simple. We're going to edge bevel, and you run around it, and you're all done. And then they grab the thing, and they're at too tight an angle, so it doesn't go, or they're down here and it slides off. But once you learn that angle, sometimes you get caught, but almost always it's pretty easy to do. But when you first pick up that tool, it's frustrating, and I think that's a takeaway for really anything you do with your hands. You got to pick it up and learn it, and try to figure out where to go and what to do and so on. So, all right, let's think pond over here. Thinking about where I can go with this. Also thinking about like down here. I feel like we need some grass maybe, but then do I flow it up this way? Because that's in our forefront. Again, I am no artist. Somewhere right now there's an artist out there who would watch this and is just gasping in horror because I'm sure the things I'm saying are not correct art-wise. Taking a minute here, just put my tools back. I try to keep my workspace clean, which doesn't always happen. Ooh, 5 humans watching. Hey, you 5 humans out there, if you're just joining us, we're doing a little carving work. Just kind of getting my day going, so I thought I'd jump on here. All right. Okay. Well, try to back to using my modeling spoon. Try to give the pond water a little depth here. Ponds are generally fairly flat, but we still have some ripples maybe. So just trying to work some stuff in there to make it look a little more like that. The other thing is obviously I could paint it blue or I could do something like that, but I haven't. All right, let's think about grass or bushes. There's different ways to do that. I have used one of the things I've done for bushes or grass rather, it's not bushes. I've actually used a hair blade, which this here to kind of work some stuff in. This is a hair blade for putting hair on animals and stuff. Also done just kind of use my swivel knife for varying lengths. So something like that I've done. That's a possibility. I've never been happy with my grass technique before. Oh, let's see. All over the place. I'm thinking about the trees again in the background. Thinking about what's possible. But back to the grass. Let's stay focused here. I need to stay focused in. I should be done with this soon, but I'm way off topic. I'm reaching over here to get to my stamps, trying to find the one I'm after. There's a big one I'm after. I know this is sometimes used for grass. You can see when it's done right, that kind of looks grass-like, my opinion. Oh, Daniel, yeah. Let's talk about that. So I have seen a difference when you tape the back, and I do that. I use like blue painter's tape usually. Um, Not even the expensive stuff, just cheap stuff. Um, I think a lot depends on what you're doing. If when I stamp my sheaths, I don't generally do it because they have a glued liner on the back that keeps it from mushing out. Um, if you have a piece like this, depending on how it's wetted, as you stamp or press, it'll actually mush on you in directions. So a lot of people do it on belts because you want to keep that belt shape, that inch and a half. I definitely do see a difference. I've also seen people rubber cement the back to something stiff. Um, I've seen various things that seems to work too, but where I find it's really beneficial is if I'm doing a repeating pattern, like a basket weave stamp. For anybody watching, this is a basket weave stamp. So if I know that I am going to make, I don't know, 100 stamps on there with this basket weave, and I'm in there stamping that sucker, that is mushing it out every time, and that's where I see a difference. It doesn't mush as far because of that on the back. I think a lot depends what you're doing, but I have definitely seen a difference in a sling or in a belt where I didn't want it to mush too far. This I don't really care because if it mushes a little bit, it doesn't really matter. Um, it's fairly benign that way, so to speak. So, okay, I got to make a decision about grass or bushes or something here. Let me try. I want to see something here. See if I got another piece of scrap over here that doesn't have too much on it. Yeah, there's some. Let me try that. All right, so I just sprayed that down and wetted that good. So, yeah, I think that if you're practicing on scraps, you probably don't notice it as much. Um, you've got an odd shaped piece of leather like this, you're pounding into it, it's still mushing and going directions, but you don't see the reality of it. Um, where it's going and what the difference is, because it doesn't matter. But when you have a uniform shape that you're trying to keep, like you've probably seen the field notes that they fold over and you want to keep that shape and suddenly a corner of it is mushed way up, then it's noticeable. That is definitively noticeable. So I think that's the difference. So again, play around, learn, and so on. All important. I am reaching for different things here. I'm trying to figure out. Think about what kind of bush I'm making here. If I want to do a bush or two along the stream edge or pond edge. How do I get to a stream all of a sudden? We're not making streams here. Trying to see. This is a type I'm messing with. They're more leaf-like up here. Up this direction. 989. In case anybody's wondering, every so often I'll mumble a number. Most of these stamps that come from Tandy have some form of number on the side and a letter for what they are. So that's what I'm mumbling about when I got to put it back. I have them organized that way. All right, I've really got to make a decision here. Let's definitely need something over here. I feel like little grass or something. So I'm looking at my stamps. I'm pausing and hesitating here. You had that hair blade. I didn't catch the grass. Oh, okay, yeah. I'll do another little bit with that. Let's see here. I mean, this is designed to be hair, obviously, but I find that sometimes it's a little tough because this, let me try to, it's hard to see that. There's a better shot. So see it here? Like that's a possibility. And then sometimes I'll get a little more depth. I'll do something like then if I add some swivel cuts to it, like it gives it a thicker and a thinner sense. I don't know if that's good or not, but that's a thought. So I'm actually going to wet this just a little more. Give it a quick little spray down there. I'm going to let that just kind of work its way in there. I want to be clear that what I'm messing with here is just literally me playing, for lack of a better term. Trying to learn some new techniques, trying to find new ways that work good for me. So there's no right or wrong. I'm not trying to sell this. This isn't a product. It's just a little, for lack of a better term, a card of leather, playing around to see what I can do. I tried new techniques. I tried different things. I've done. There's one I did a while back, and then I tried to do a little painting work up here and stuff, and tried to put the chickadee on a tree, and made the border black. So I tried different things. That's really what we're doing there. Okay, so I think, yeah, I am really tempted to work with the swivel knife on this one and just kind of feather my way in. I'm gonna find a blade I'm happy with though. Not just any blade. This is a ceramic blade. I don't use this very much. Let me see what that looks like. Yeah, it's a little too much for my liking. Let's see here. I know I'm being quiet, not ideal. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the one I use all the time. Again, I use this straight blade. It works out for me for what I do. So let me just, I'm gonna, one thing I've definitely learned is random is good. I am very kind of methodical about my methodology with grass, which is not good. Like I end up same size, same direction, same all that stuff, and that is definitely not what you want. Um, because if you look at grass, it goes in all different directions. It's not stationary. It's not in one way. I think we're kind of winning here now. The question for me becomes, yeah, I think that's all right as we look across there. I don't know how well you all can see that. But now, do I keep flowing up this way? Like I'm trying to think how we make this look more like that's, this is flat, which obviously we're in 2D. This is where I get tripped up. Is how I make that look correct. And I know it has to do with flowing it backwards. That probably makes no sense. That didn't make sense to me when I said it, but that's okay. 4 people. Come on, people. Somebody say something. Say hello. Ask a question. Tell me I am crazy. Tell me leatherwork is nuts. I don't know. I like it when people participate. Because part of me doing this live is just to take a few minutes, have folks participate, see if we can answer some questions about leatherwork. Now I can still go. I'm going to take the smaller hair blade here and just kind of. This will probably not show up well on camera. But this is adding a little more depth to that grass. Like there's more blades in there. I'm using a different one than I had out before. Give me a second. I'll show you guys. All right, so see, I'm trying. It's tough for me to see what you guys can see here because I got the camera set up a little high above me. So now, see on camera that doesn't look as good to me, but to me here it looks pretty good. So there's that side. So I'm happy with the tree for the most part, and we've got a little grass around the tree. Obviously, there's a line on that leather showing up on camera that was originally what the pond was going to be, which it's not now. So, okay. All right. So, in my head, I've got all these ideas. Like, there should be ducks on the pond, and there's birds flying up here, and I don't have a good way to feather all that in, obviously. But it's in my head. All right. I wonder if trying to think about in the background there to make a line of trees of some type, maybe. That's doable. Yeah, that's a possibility. Hmm. I wonder what happens if I like make another break back in here. Like smooth this out that way. I'm gonna go to my scrap here again. I'm looking my stamps over, people. I'm trying to decide where I want to go. It's funny, I've studied all these stamps for a long time, and you think I would remember over this. Every so often I'm thinking of one I want, and I can't remember which one it is. Drives me a little batty, I gotta be honest. Let's try. Let me try something here. Use your imagination here a little, but up here, can't we kind of picture those as trees? I know that's a technique that's used. This is a smooth triangle one I'm using. That's a possibility, but I feel like if anything, that's going to be like up in here, way back in the background. So maybe I'll try that up there. Listen, what's our worst case? We throw this out? That's my worst case scenario here, I think. It's F941. Let me stick that guy back. So I have two possibilities. I have F976 here. Just see. Bear with me here, folks. Bear with me. I'm going to try. This is more tree shaped, if you will. Kind of like how that looks, and then if we follow that up as we get further up here with smaller ones, maybe. Yeah, I'm talking to myself. I'm very good at that. I don't know. Is that slap? How's that? Is that what the kids say? Does that slap? I don't know if that's what the kids say. What am I gonna say? I'm not young. I'm not my teenagers. Boy, this is tricky. All right, let's go for it. We're gonna go for it. I'm gonna pretend that this is the line I'm following here. Go up that side there. You guys probably can't. Oh, I can't even see what I just drew there. All right, let's. All right, so there's a little something there. I want to go above that a little bit, I think. All right, how are we feeling about this? Up there in the back, I think I'm feeling okay about it. Not spectacular, but it's okay. A little all over the place, but that's all right. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not thrilled with it, but I'm not disappointed in it. How's that? All right. I don't know. It's okay. It's up there. It's out there. Okay. So let's. I want to feel like The old modeling spoon out here again. Trying to work this down along the pond edge. And I definitely feel like I need to work that grass down maybe along the pond edge too. Messing with the tree, which I probably shouldn't be doing, but that's okay. Let's add some grass down here. Oh, we're back down to one. Yeah, we definitely need that guy to recommend the mountains up there. I think that's like in my head, like this is far off on kind of a more of a shelf or a mountain, but I don't know. I don't want to make a deep cut line in here. I think that would be a mistake personally. But I do think we're going to work some grass up along the pond. So that's what I'm going to do now. We're just going to make some lines. Add a little flow. Okay, and we'll go back to the hair blade. Again, this is the smaller of the two. And if my big head is in the way, my apologies, but I haven't found a good system yet for doing all this. That's okay. Okay. I would probably benefit from some form of art classes, I think, in drawing or something to give me some. All right. And let's see here. What else do I want to do? Kind of. Feathering a few more trees off in the distance up here. Okay. So I don't know. I think we're about done. You know, it's a thing. It's a thing. Um, just gonna kind of smooth out this border just a little bit, just like a frame, if you will. There we go. So I don't know. I'm not in love with it, but I don't hate it. I think it's okay. Um, maybe I'll darken this border, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see here. Dark brown. Two humans. I still got two humans watching. Just kind of giving it a little more of a dark border to add a little intrigue to it, if you will. Try not, of course, to hit the rest of it, because if I do, I'm going to have to make the whole thing colored, which I don't want to do. But the good news is I've got it tamped down pretty good, so. Alrighty. There, I think that added a little something to it. Every part of me wants to try to put a rabbit in the grass. I don't know how to do that. So I'm thinking about it. Let's see. Here's a rabbit. That's a rabbit, but I don't see that fitting. Seems like a lot. Let's see here. I'm going to do that. Let's see what I can do. All right. I think maybe. Let's see here. Sort of playing around, seeing if I can. Got rabbits in my yard all the time. You think I can think how the things look right now in my head? Not really. Yeah. At the risk of messing this all up, let's go rabbit. Let's see here. Yeah, I am not doing well with the rabbit here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm being quiet. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to channel the bunny. Let's channel a bunny. I'm definitely not channeling a bunny here. I think I'm channeling like a woodchuck. I don't know. This is not great. It's a woodland creature. Okay, so I mean, not horrible, but you know, some tree stumps like harvested forest. Yeah. So the question, I guess, is, do I do that up in here or down here? I agree with you. That would be kind of cool. Let me finish my crazy bunny here because I don't know what I'm doing. Just feeling just a little bit better about the bunny now. A little. It's bunny-esque. For a minute, I thought it was a duck. I think scale is so hard when you have small stuff. It's so tricky. But, well, for me, it's tricky. How's that? I can't say it's tricky for everybody, but for me, it's tricky. I know you can't see much right now. I apologize about that. How's that look? Is that bunny-esque? I feel it's bunny-esque. All right, let's do a little detail work, which is probably a bit insane here, but I'm doing it anyway. 76 F976, way over there. My blue sweatshirt. Oh my, I've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. Wow. Okay. All right, let's make Mr. Bunny pop out just a little more here. All right, what do we think here, gang? By gang, I mean the one human watching, which is probably Daniel. But I think that's bunny-like. I do. So I think we're gonna call it there. I like the stump idea. I think done properly in a big enough scale, they would look right. Not so sure. I'm tempted to run a couple up in here, like up this way. Let's see what that looks like here. Yeah, I could probably work a. Huh. It's an interesting thought. But sometimes too busy is too much too. I don't know. Yeah, actually, Daniel, I'm happy with the head there. So I don't know, folks. I'm leaning towards we leave it there. Daniel, I do like your stump idea, though. I'm really tempted to try that. I'm just afraid might get a little too busy. I don't know. It's trying to think. If you have a big stump here and then a little stump back further, doesn't that give it depth and dimension? Maybe if we had a stump there, maybe. And a small one back here. You all can't see this, but I'm drawing out some. Oh, the heck with it. Let's go for it. We're going for it. All right, so let's go. Here's a stump there. Put a stump back here. One over here. And a small one back up here. All right, so there's working some stumps in there. Oh, Daniel, you're killing me, man. How am I doing a fallen tree there? I like that idea. I love it. Um, I think one thing I can't quite wrap my head around on this one is how I make that look right. So we're gonna go with the stumps because I like the idea. But the fallen tree thing would be cool too. I've seen some cool stuff with fallen trees, like in the forefront, like right here, and then like a deer in the back and stuff like that. It gets tricky on this small of a scale. I've done call it sheet of paper size. What is that? 8.5 by 11. I've done things like that with some deer and some carving work that comes out fairly well. I think when I look at it that way, but again, I'm trying to work from full memory here, which is, geez, is it tricky? Let me tell you. Okay, let me do a little bevel work here around this lower one.
Again, that beveling helps to kind of pop them out. You're beveling around it so as to bring out the stump, make it more of a, I hesitate to call it 3D, but that's kind of what's happening, to be honest. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of trying to give a little more depth to these guys, make them look a little more stump-like. You'll notice I'm not always using the mallet to tap these. I just kind of work my way through. Okay. Almost home. Liking the stump concept, I really am. I think it does add a little something to us.
I think it's helping me kind of see that more as flat going away, I think. So let's do a little more. Let me
Then again, work some stuff on here. Making these stump like. Instead of just shapes out there. The smaller it gets, the harder it is to give that detail work, but I think this is working. Give you guys a clear shot in a second here.
I don't know. How's that? So we played around. We got a rabbit. We got some stumps. So I think overall that's pretty good. Again, I do these exercises. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to use my own techniques, if you will, even though I've read so much, watched so many things. I don't really have a. There's no right or wrong thing here. This is just learning. Yeah, no more empty space. I agree, and it gives us a little depth there, I think, too. So, kind of going back through. So, good call on that one. Definitely like that. I'm going to do just a little more smoothing out down here.
So that's about it for today's live. I'm gonna head on out to the other shop. I think maybe work on those straight razors a little bit, see if I can get them closer to heat treatment today. I've got a little more sanding work to do on them. I've lost some attention on that lately, but that's okay.
So there we go. Thanks for hanging out with me a little bit this morning, and hopefully this looks somewhat like a rabbit and some tree stumps and a pond and a tree. So there it is. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. Take care.